Now that we are in between seasons, we're waiting for college football season to start again. We thought we'd do a ranking of the top 5 SEC coaches in football. And so joining Darren and I tonight are Zach, Boomer Sooner, and we have Brandon, who recently on the show, big Tennessee fan. Well, let's jump right in and make some rankings here on SEC coaches. Zach, you ready to make some picks? We'll do our top 5, and I'm gonna start with you. All right, Zach, who's your number 5?
Okay, so number 5, I don't really know if I want to dig in too much into this guy. It's the Texas head coach Steve Sarkisian. I put him in at number 5. He's had a pretty good success the last couple of years. Before that, was a little bit iffy in the head coach position, but I think he's a pretty good offensive minded coach. They seem to do pretty well on the recruiting trail and in the portal as well. And they just kind of need to get, kind of like how we're talking the same thing on the basketball side, has had decent success, but when it kind of comes to the big game, they haven't really gone past that hump yet. So I slotted him at number 5.
Yeah, he's certainly building something at Texas, and they're going to be a force to be reckoned with this year. He didn't make my top 5, and part of it is just I was looking at SEC records overall, and it's not a slight at Sarkisian at all. I think he's a really good coach. But my number 5, I have Hugh Freeze. Now he was 6-7 last year at Auburn, but once he finds the right quarterback for his system, he's proven already in 5 years previously at Ole Miss he went 39-25. So the guy can coach. He just needs to stay off of his cell phone and dialing certain numbers to certain.
Yep.
And I from everything he says, he's moved on from that. That's in the past. But the guy can coach, and so I've got. I think he's going to turn it around at Auburn. I've got Freeze at my number 5.
So I think Zach's number 5. We'll clip that into a short and title it "Even Oklahoma Loves Texas." What do you
think? Can you put some throw up emojis around?
I was about to say that's not right. We wouldn't do that to you.
All right, number 4. I don't know how y'all will think about this pick, but I have Kalen DeBoer as my number 4 head coach.
Interesting.
Now I know he's coming from the Pac-12, and before that he was just in the Power 5 conference. I want to say, I forget where he was before Washington.
Fresno
State. Yeah.
And so whenever I was digging in, when I first saw the hire, I was like, that's a kind of an iffy hire. But digging in a little bit, he's got a pretty good offensive mind, and I think he can kind of tap into kind of the pool that Alabama fans can give him when it comes to on the financial side and kind of bringing in players. And seeing that his record was 104-12 in his total coaching career, and then 25-3 in the Power 5s. Pretty good. Now it's not going to carry over all the way into the SEC. I'm sure you're going to have some losses, but I still think he's a pretty good head coach.
It's hard to argue with his record. Overall, 104-12. A lot of those wins came at Sioux Falls, which I think is an NAIA school. 2 years at Fresno State, 2 years at Washington. I didn't have him in my top 5 just because I want to see how he does in the SEC. I think he's going to have success. I'm not sure what level of success. Of course, he has all the resources he could possibly need. So my number 4 is Josh Heupel. 55-20 overall record, 27-12 at Tennessee, 14-10 in the SEC. I like what Heupel's doing at Tennessee. Darren, we talked about when they first hired him that he was the right person for the Tennessee job, and he's got a stud coming in at quarterback this year, and so I got Heupel at 4. Brandon, you're a big Tennessee fan. What do you think?
I think that's a little low, but I mean, he does. He's a incredible recruiter. And they have Nico going to start at quarterback. Just signed a guy right behind him, another 5-star quarterback out of I think the Chattanooga area in Tennessee. And they have. I saw a way too early mock draft, but they've got the potential number 1 pick in the draft next year.
Yeah, is that a D lineman?
Yeah,
an edge rusher. Yeah.
His name is leaving me right now. I am drawing a blank. It's been a long day, but yeah, I mean he's mocked to be the number 1 pick in the draft next year. So, and that's a Heupel guy. So,
well, if you're not pleased where I put Heupel, you're going to hate my number 3 pick, Brandon.
Oh no,
I'm just going to go ahead and rip the Band-Aid off. So, Brandon, Tennessee fans,
it's Clark Lee. No,
let it out. Let it out. Let the frustration out. I'll tell you about letting frustration out. This is really funny. So, my son and I went to a concert recently. You guys ever hear of Riley Green? He's a country singer.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. Mm-hmm.
He's from Alabama. And so when he told the crowd here in Louisiana that he's from Alabama, everyone in the arena booed. And he just sat there and said, all right, let it out, let it out. Right. So Tennessee fans, I'm telling you, go ahead, let it out,
right.
Because my number 3 is Lane Kiffin. Overall record, 84-47, 33-15 in the SEC. He has done amazing at Ole Miss, where that program has been in the past. 3 straight bowl appearances, first 10-win regular season in Ole Miss history. It's no secret that Ole Miss does not have the resources that the bigger SEC schools have, or the NIL, and he's still winning. So I've got Kiffin at my number 3. I think, Brandon, he's matured a lot from that 1 year at Tennessee.
Oh, absolutely.
His USC. Yeah. I don't think he's the same person, because back then he was difficult to like.
Yeah.
So, all right. What about you, Zach?
I think we're going to start rolling with some of the same picks, because I did the same thing. So sorry, Brandon, but I had Lane Kiffin as number 3 as well. Kind of the similar things you were mentioning, just of how much success he's kind of brought to Ole Miss these last couple of years. And just it kind of seems like he has them on a pretty good steady pace. It's kind of hard to think about him having this much success when you think about his USC days and even him at Tennessee, but just kind of more on the recency side and kind of the big push he's gotten the Ole Miss kind of boosters to just, I guess, throw everything they have into this 1 year seems to be kind of putting them in a good trajectory.
Darren, you're big on Tennessee. What do you think about Kiffin at 3?
You just can't. Well, I'll say this: Lane Kiffin leaving Tennessee. Nothing personal, Brandon. It's one of my top 5 like football moments in my. No, that night was crazy. But I tell you, and I have talked about it. I'm on the Lane train. I think that's a fair pick at number 3, especially when you look at not only what he's done on the field, but how he's elevated that program. I don't think you can argue with his success on every level. And Zach, I think you make a good point. When you think about the Lane Kiffin that walked out of Tennessee after 1 year, that was basically refused. We've got you another plane. You can't even get on our team jet. When he was dismissed from USC, it's hard to comprehend that guy could come in and do what he's done at Ole Miss. But Ben, I think that goes to your point. I think we're looking at a different person than that was during that time, and you can see it manifest on the field as well in how he's dealing with the players, dealing with the program, and the success he's finding on the field.
Okay, Brandon is grinding his teeth, so let's move on to our number 2. Zach, who do you have at number 2?
Well, I guess to make all the locals very happy, my number 2 pick is Brian Kelly. I just think that he's had, even before coming to LSU, his long tenure at Notre Dame, he's just had steady success. He may have never reached that kind of pinnacle of going above like conference championship, national championships, getting up there to like what our number 1, which most of us already kind of know who is. But he's just, you can always expect him to get up almost near that double-digit range of wins a season. So that's why I think he's kind of ahead of all the others in the pack that are on in the SEC.
Yeah, I agree. I got Brian Kelly at number 2 as well. 304, 103-2 record. In his career, only 2 teams have ever finished the season below 500.
Wow.
He's the winningest active coach. And of course, he came to LSU because he thought that gave him a better chance to win a national championship than at Notre Dame. And so I think the verdict's still out on where he'll be in college coaching history, but he certainly has won a lot. You guys are quiet.
Well, I mean, I agree.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I agree as well.
Kind of a weird guy, but he's a great football coach.
Hey, you can't say that. He's family.
Yeah, right.
Well, let's go to our number 1, and I think Zach, we're going to be 3 for 3 on these last 3 picks. Who do you got number 1?
I have Clark Lee. No, I'm just kidding.
Yes. Finally, somebody sees it.
And there goes all the credibility of the
show.
Yeah, I have Kirby Smart. I mean, there's really nothing really else that you have to add to it. Just the amount of success that he was able to gain, even after just starting as a head coach. That bowl game in the Rose Bowl that kind of started all that double overtime win against Oklahoma. I guess I just like thinking some negative thoughts, I guess, throughout this top 5 picks, but just the amount of success that he's been able to bring and kind of keep moving forward. It's just an unstoppable force, he seems like.
Yeah.
I think you're absolutely right. The guy is 56-9 in the SEC. 2 national championships. Yeah. He's built a juggernaut at Georgia. Now with Saban retired, I think it's clear he's the best coach. The only one that we talked about on this list that has won 1 national championship, let alone 2. And so I think you got to put Kirby at number 1. What do the rest of you guys think?
Totally.
Yeah. I completely agree. I mean, when you look at a list of coaches in any conference and you've got one guy that has multiple national championships, I don't know how you don't put him at the top of the list, especially when you add to that he's in single-digit losses in SEC football. Yeah. Goodness gracious, that's impressive.
The guy I like. He's definitely not a top 5 coach by any means, but I like what Drinkwitz is doing in Missouri.
Absolutely.
I think he's got potential to be in the conversation as a top 5 coach if they keep that momentum going.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's definitely some guys looking from the outside on my list, and I think Brent Venables is a good coach at Oklahoma, and he's just finished his second year.
Mm-hmm.
I think he has a chance to do very well, and then we've got some coaches that are just fighting for their lives.
Yeah.
Clark Lee, Billy Napier, Sam Pittman.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
But we'd like to know, for those of you who are watching and listening, who are your top 5 SEC football coaches? Drop us a line. Let us know. Agree, disagree with the picks that we've made today. We want to hear from you.
Absolutely.